The night she told me, the world didn't just go quiet, it felt like it cracked straight down the middle. Her voice trembled so badly I thought the call would drop before the words made it through. And when they finally did, they didn't sound real. They sounded like something borrowed from someone else's tragedy. She said she was pregnant. She said he had left. And in that moment, I could hear the hollow space where her future used to be. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in showing up when it matters most, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Stories like this deserve to be felt, and maybe even lived. I found her sitting on the floor when I arrived, back against the couch, eyes swollen, hands wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold something together that was already breaking apart. The apartment smelled faintly of burnt toast and forgotten tea, like time had paused mid-morning and never resumed. She didn't look up when I entered, just stared at the wall as if it might offer answers. I remember thinking how small she looked, how unlike the person who used to laugh too loudly at bad jokes and dance barefoot in her kitchen. That version of her felt like a memory from another life. She kept repeating the same sentence, over and over, like it might change if she said it enough times. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Each repetition softer than the last, until it became less of a statement and more of a confession she didn't want to believe. I sat down beside her, not saying anything at first, because sometimes words only make the silence heavier. And then, when she finally turned to me, her eyes searching for something, maybe judgment, maybe reassurance. I said the only thing I knew was true. I told her she wasn't doing this alone at the time. I didn't know what that promise would cost. I didn't know how many nights would be spent holding her while she cried, how many mornings would begin with fear sitting heavy in our chests. I didn't know how complicated life would become, or how deeply it would change both of us. But I meant it. And sometimes, meaning something is enough to begin. The days that followed blurred together in a strange mix of shock and survival. She moved through them like someone underwater, every action slowed, every thought muffled. There were practical things to handle, doctor's appointments, missed calls, unopened messages. But each task felt enormous, like climbing a mountain with no strength left in her legs. I started showing up more often, bringing groceries she wouldn't eat, sitting with her in silence when she couldn't talk, reminding her gently to breathe when panic took hold. There were moments when she would suddenly break, like glass shattering without warning. A song on the radio, a couple holding hands on the street, even the sight of a baby stroller could send her spiraling. She carried guilt like a shadow, blaming herself for trusting him, for not seeing the signs, for believing in a future that vanished overnight. And beneath the guilt was fear, raw, unfiltered fear of what came next. How do you raise a child when you can barely hold yourself together? How do you face a world that suddenly feels so unforgiving? I didn't have answers. I still don't. But I stayed, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, something began to shift. It wasn't dramatic. There were no sudden breakthroughs or miraculous moments of clarity. It was quieter than that. It was her remembering to eat without being reminded. It was her opening the curtains one morning and letting sunlight spill into the room. It was her asking questions during a doctor's appointment instead of staring at the floor. Tiny steps, each one fragile, each one hard-earned. That I remember the first time she placed her hand on her stomach and didn't flinch. It was subtle, almost hesitant, like she was testing the reality of it. There was still fear in her eyes, but there was something else. Too, something softer, something that looked almost like curiosity. That moment stayed with me, because it felt like the beginning of a new story, one neither of us had planned but were now learning to write together. Of course, healing isn't linear. There were setbacks, days when the weight of everything pressed down so heavily it felt impossible to breathe. There were nights when she would call me, voice shaking, convinced she couldn't do this, convinced she was going to fail before she even began. And every time, I reminded her of the same truth. You're not alone. We're in this together. As her body changed, so did her perspective. The fear didn't disappear, but it started to share space with something else: responsibility, resilience, even a quiet kind of hope. She began to talk about the future again, cautiously at first, like someone stepping onto thin ice. She wondered what the baby would look like, what kind of mother she would be, whether she could create a life filled with love despite how it had started. And I saw something remarkable happen. The woman who had once felt completely broken began to rebuild herself, piece by piece. Not into who she used to be, but into someone new, someone stronger, someone more aware of her own strength. Pain didn't disappear, but it transformed. It became part of her foundation rather than something that defined her entirely. The day the baby was born felt like standing at the edge of something vast and overwhelming. The hospital room was filled with a strange mix of exhaustion and anticipation, the air heavy with everything that had led up to this moment. When I saw her holding that tiny, fragile life for the first time, something shifted again. The fear was still there, yes, but it was no longer the loudest thing in the room. Love had taken its place. She cried, not the broken kind of crying I had grown used to, but something deeper, something that carried both grief and gratitude. It was as if all the pain, all the uncertainty, had led to this single, undeniable truth: she had created life, and that life was now hers to protect, to nurture, to love. In the weeks that followed, reality settled in with all its challenges. Sleepless nights, endless worries, moments of doubt that crept in when she least expected them. But there was also laughter, soft and unexpected, echoing through the same apartment that had once felt so heavy. There were moments of quiet joy, of connection, of realizing that even in the midst of hardship, something beautiful had taken root. Watching her become a mother was like witnessing a quiet kind of courage. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It didn't demand attention. It showed up in the small, everyday choices: the decision to keep going, to keep loving, to keep believing that she could give her child a life filled with warmth and care. And every time she doubted herself, I was there to remind her of how far she had come. But the truth is, she didn't need me as much as she thought she did. Not anymore. Somewhere along the way, she had found something within herself that no one could take away. Strength. Not the kind that makes everything easy, but the kind that makes everything possible. And as for me, I learned something too. Showing up for someone isn't always about fixing their problems or having the right words. Sometimes it's about sitting in the darkness with them until they find their own light. It's about making a promise and choosing, every single day, to keep it. Now, when I look at her, I don't see the girl who once sat on the floor, broken and afraid. I see someone who walked through one of the hardest chapters of her life and came out stronger on the other side. I see someone who turned pain into purpose, fear into resilience, and loss into something that still holds love. And that promise I made that night? It still stands. Not because she needs it in the same way, but because some bonds, once formed in the fire of hardship, never really fade. If this story touched your heart, if it made you think of someone who might need to hear these words, take a moment to like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps stories like this reach the people who need them most. Before you go, I have a special request: comment below with one word, together. Because sometimes, that one word is enough to remind someone they're not alone.